Welcome,
Thank you, George.
Josephine.
Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
Thank you for being here. As a reminder, I'm George Gonzalez. I'm the owner of George the Salon and the founder of the I Am Gorgeous Hair Care line. So the podcast is George the Podcast. So welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, hair, faith, and confidence. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I have always wanted to do hair ever since I was like 13 years old, and I have now been a hairdresser for 3 years now. I graduated beauty school in late 2021, and since I graduated, I've been studying ultimately to become a hair colorist. So I started my career up in the suburbs where I grew up, Northern Lake County, and I did a year training program with that salon. And then while I was working behind the chair there, I always kind of knew that I wanted to move my life down to the city. It was always my dream to live and work in the city. So I decided kind of to quit while I was ahead there, and I decided to move myself down to the city. And that's when I met you for the first time, and I interviewed to work at your salon and to join your team as an apprentice. So that's pretty much my life kind of just opened up since then. So
Yeah.
just been kind of living my best city life since then.
So what I've done on most of these episodes is kind of gone through the list of hair, faith, and confidence. But I think with you and today we'll do something a little bit different. Why don't we just talk about all three of them
Mhm.
together? So I'd love to ask you some questions about all of that. And just tell me a little bit more about who you are, what gave you the confidence, what gave you the faith in yourself, the faith in a higher being to go and pursue more of
Yeah,
this hair business that you're in.
sounds right.
Anything? So
Honestly, so to pretty much my whole journey since I started beauty school has kind of all been about hair, faith, and confidence since the start. So, I mean, I always knew I wanted to do hair. I just had such a like passion for it when I was younger. But as I began beauty school, and I mean, I feel like I had this problem kind of in my adolescence and growing up a little bit. I was always really shy growing up. And like, I remember when I was like a Girl Scout growing up, I always sold like the least amount of Girl Scout cookies every single time because I just like was too shy to go door to door and, market myself in a way, I guess. So my mom always likes to make that joke of like, look at where you are now, and I had to sell your Girl Scout cookies when you were 6. But
yeah.
I mean, along the way, like I've built so much more confidence in who I am and what I'm doing. But there were many times when I was going through beauty school where I thought that I wasn't cut out for the industry because I was so shy and I just didn't have this like I wasn't extroverted and I just didn't have this like confidence radiating from me. I was just this little girl in a little bubble. So yeah, many times I thought that I wasn't cut out for this. But over the years and just all of the things that I'd experienced leading up to today, I have ultimately grown into the person that I always wanted to be, that I didn't think I had in me to be, but it just took kind of like going through the steps of life and just experiencing different things.
Yeah. Interesting. So this is exactly what I would love to share with my audience, with our audience, is if you can, and I'd love to sort of take you back in time and just try to remember, were there any moments or conscious decisions, things that you did that allowed you to take big steps?
Yes. And it like kind of sounds a little silly, but it'll make sense when I get into it. But so I did not decide to go to beauty school until that wasn't my first thing that I did right after high school. So my dad, he was kind of more traditional on education, so he knew that I wanted to go to beauty school, but he's like, you're going to go to college. So I went to college for 2 years, and that's when like COVID started happening. So he shut down the school, sent everyone home. And I kind of was having those thoughts of like, I don't really want to go back. Like, I want to go to beauty school. I want to do that thing. And I also remember that. So I was 19 or 18 at this point when I was thinking about quitting college and going back to school. And I was dating somebody from high school, and it was just like a really, like it was one of those relationships where it was like my first boyfriend, so I just wasn't really comfortable being myself, he probably wasn't either, so it just, like, wasn't, like, the greatest relationship, and I feel like kind of being with that guy made me feel a little less confident because I mean, it just wasn't for the best,
Mhm.
and it wasn't until I decided to break up with that guy where I all of a sudden felt this, like all of this confidence that I didn't have before, and I'm like, "You know what? Okay," like, for whatever reason, that was the confidence I needed to make the decision to, "Okay, no more school, no more college, let's do beauty school instead." I felt like this just I was so proud of myself for breaking up with this guy, so I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, let's just make all these other decisions now too." I'm like, I'm ready to move on, I'm ready for growth, bigger and better things. So that was probably, like, the first, like, decision I made that I was like, I'm proud of myself for that. And like, it was hard, but I'm proud because it just opened up, like,
Mhm.
a lot of other things
Yeah.
for me. The other really, really hard decision I had to make was I was working in Deerfield on the North Shore, and that's when I was working behind a chair taking clients,
Mhm.
and I had gotten myself into a very lucky situation where right when I got on the floor at that salon, somebody else quit right away. So I got all of their clients immediately.
Mhm.
So right off the get, I was booked and busy taking clients, making a ton of money. Like my paychecks were double just all of a sudden. And it was great. I'm on
Mhm.
my card. I like,
Mhm.
just was making all this money that I like didn't know what to do with. And everything was great. But I like wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And I was only 22 at this point. So I'm like, this cannot be like it for me. Like, am I really just going to work here
Yeah.
in this salon that I'm not like super thrilled about forever? Like, is this it? When I always knew I wanted to be in the city anyways. So that was probably the hardest decision of quitting that job and kind of taking the risk to come here and kind of start from square one again and like
Yeah.
go and do the, mentorship and all of that when I was making like great money. So that was a really hard decision, but I'm so proud of myself because I mean, at that last job, it was a more corporate salon. So I constantly kind of felt like I felt like they kind of pushed me to start taking clients before I was really ready to because they just wanted to start making more money from me. But I never really felt ready for what I was doing. And it was a lot of just like, all right, well, I hope this works out. Like,
Mhm.
we'll
Mhm.
see how this goes. And it caused me so much anxiety every single day of just feeling like I didn't know what I was doing. And so, I mean, that was 3 years ago, I guess. And now, like, thinking back to that time when I was taking clients, I'm like literally shaking just because I didn't know what I was doing. And now I'm in that position again 2 years later. But I mean, I've moved to the city. I live alone in my own apartment for the first time. I had a really like intense hands-on training program at
Mhm.
your salon under Emily. And so I'm in this position again, but I feel like a complete different person. Like I feel so many things have happened over the past 2 years that has built my confidence. And I feel like I ultimately am now the person I wanted to be when I was this person,
Yeah.
not knowing what I was doing. So it's like I wish like that person could see me now.
Do you think that you were born confident, or do you think that you didn't have confidence and then you built up confidence? Does that make sense?
Yes, I built it for sure.
Built it.
Yeah, through just the amount just through experience. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like no one is ever comfortable doing something for the first time because you don't know what you're doing, but you do something one time and then the next time you do it, it's like, okay, well, I've done this one time before, so there are some like familiar things, and just every time you do something, like it just gets more familiar and familiar and familiar. That goes with, I mean, like hands-on work versus like interpersonal like interactions. Because it's like thinking back through life. I mean, when I was 18, and I just had no experience, like no professional experience with like professional higher ups, I guess, besides like teachers at high school. But then, so I mean, when I was 18, I didn't know how to talk to anybody, but like my experience in college where I was working in a communication dominated field. That kind of built my confidence a little bit too, just experiencing that.
Yeah.
And then moving back from college and then starting beauty school. I mean, that was a whole nother experience as well that kind of made me, I had to channel confidence in other ways that I wasn't used to yet. So I just feel like no one's like born with it. It just is the things that you experience over time.
So maybe people have the potential to tap into a confidence that maybe they don't even know that they have.
Yes, I would say so. Everyone has the ability to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe just making sure that you're in a good environment, a safe environment, right?
Yes.
How do you know how to trust yourself, trust your gut versus intuition? And like for me, I think that through commitment, we grow, and through hard work and through going through tough situations, right? Because it's not easy to learn something for the first time. Talking with people, doing a certain type of hair or color or whatever is scary, right? But how does someone overcome the fear without thinking that it's like unsafe for them? How would they know the difference?
That is a good question because I feel like fear fear and anxiety is like the biggest block of confidence of like you're too scared to try something for the first time because you're too wrapped up on thinking, oh well, what's gonna happen? And I feel like that's kind of been like an aim in my life too, of like being too scared to just try something because of what may possibly happen. But to differentiate of like, am I afraid because I've never done this, or am I afraid because I feel unsafe? And like differentiating the two. Yeah, I mean, it really just kind of puts the stressor on healthy environments and how important that is for everyone because how would you ever feel comfortable trying something new if you're in a space that doesn't allow you to do that? So just to compare quickly again, I mean, my experience working with you at your salon and then my experience prior, I didn't feel like I really had a team at my last salon. I felt like I was kind of on my own. I feel like I didn't know who to ask for help if I needed it. So it felt like every time I had to try something new, it was very, very scary because I didn't feel like anyone had my back because it just wasn't the best environment. But now I'm working in a space where I have this amazing color team where, I mean, I feel comfortable. I've cried in front of every single one of these women. I like, they know, I mean, personal things about me because I feel comfortable, asking them advice and whatnot. And so now it's like, okay, I I guess the fear that I'm feeling now is more of a just pressure to impress myself and my coworkers and my boss, and rather than fear of like I don't know what I'm doing
Right.
because I'm in more of a like healthy environment that I love being in. So it's not a scary type of fear. It's like it's just like good healthy pressure, I feel like, to just be the best.
Yeah. So you're here today because you just asked me to be on the podcast. Like I applaud you. Excuse me?
Making things happen.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm at work. I'm talking occasionally about the podcast and things that I'm doing. And then last week you're like, why don't you do me? And the answer is, well, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So we set it up. You're here now. And you and I have had many conversations over the years. And we've talked a lot about a lot of deep things. And hopefully I've been able to inspire you, make you feel like you're in a good environment, make you feel safe in that, whether it was myself or my team that kind of brought you in and took care of me. What questions do you have for me now since you have me here?
Yeah, so I feel like I kind of spoke a lot about like my beginning. I kind of want to hear about your beginning and what kind of initially sparked your passions for being a boss, a leader, and a mentor in a way.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. Well, I went to beauty school right after high school, and I loved getting my hair cut when I was a little kid, 5, 6, even high school.
The race car seat.
The race car seat, yes. I actually went to a barber, an old barber. So he would use clippers and my back would tickle and I would move and he would like smacked me in the back of the head. He told me to sit still. But, getting my hair cut and, walking around with a comb in my back pocket was always just something that I did. And then for me, thinking that I would also go to college, but that just didn't sit right with me. I didn't know what I would do, but I knew that I had to do something to take care of myself and provide for my family someday. And so I was racking my brain, but being open, I saw a commercial on TV with a bunch of guys in a hair salon doing hair, and it hit me. And I was like, that's it. I'm gonna go to beauty school. I'm gonna do hair. And so I went to a small, school near my house in the south suburbs, and the rest is history when it comes to doing hair, becoming a stylist. I was so particular, doing my own clients. I focused mainly on cutting and styling. And at some point, I got so busy that I needed an assistant to help me blow dry my clients, to get my clients prepared. And so I knew that if I was going to train someone to do it as good as I could, you know, in a way that was the beginning, right? If I'm going to put that much time and energy into that, and I saw that I was good at that, I wasn't good in the beginning, right? But at least I knew what I wanted the hair to look like, and I knew I had enough patience to teach someone how to do what I was asking them to do, and I had great students, when I was younger and teaching people. I had great clients that really loved me and allowed me to pass them off to somebody, right? And so the more I trained people, the more I realized I could grow something,
For sure.
I realized in the salon that I was working, there were things that I would have wanted to change, right? I want to create, I think from my tough childhood, wanting to make the space that I was living in, being in, working in, making that safe for myself and for the people around me, that was so important for me.
Totally.
And so knowing that I could train people, knowing that I could hire people, I value deep relationships with my clients and with my team. I think I'm really good at maintaining those relationships. You know, I treat everyone the same. People that are in my circle, it's as if you are a part of my family, right? And I'm not afraid of having a tough conversation. I'm not afraid of telling someone, hey, you got to work on this, just like I would, a sibling, or telling my parents how I feel about what's going on in my life, and how they affect me. Like, I've had tough conversations with people before, so I'm not afraid of doing that. And I think running a business, it's all about that. It's about being a true leader. It's about, you know, being clear, having clear expectations, and having a goal in mind to be the best or to be better, right? I went to 10 different grammar schools. I moved around a lot. My life finally settled down when I was right about to go to high school. So then I was able to make friends and have a normal life. And so for me, that longing to create something, that environment that was safe was so important. And that having a salon, because work was such a big part of my life and who I am, that was the next step naturally for me.
Yeah.
And so there are things that I did. I worked really hard, but there are things that I learned about setting a goal, you know, and writing that goal and reading it to myself. Like I said for 4 years straight, I am a salon owner. I said it over and over and over again because these are the things that I was learning. You see so many things about manifestation, right? Visualization. I did all of that. I meditated nonstop. I visualized, I felt what it felt like to be a salon owner for 4 years. So when I finally became a salon owner, it was like nothing. It felt
Mentally, you were
already there, right? And so for me, knowing that I could teach someone how to do hair, knowing that I could inspire them to grow and to evolve into so much more than a stylist or a colorist or a teammate of mine, knowing that I could influence the people around me in a positive way, it started my path, right? I've always wanted to have a product line. I always wanted to help women. It started with wanting to help my mother when she was in an abusive relationship, and I witnessed all of that, right? So for me, my life is so simple and yet so big. You know what I mean? Because I'm able to sort of connect with so many people,
Yeah.
you know, on a deep level, and having, these intimate relationships with so many people means the world to me, right? And so I know that by giving, I'm receiving, right? Because I've learned so much about myself. It's made me a better man. It's made me a better son, a better husband, a better father. I'm the father of 3 girls, beautiful girls who are so amazing, right? And so everything that I do has this greater purpose of serving, right? And so that's why I created, the salon and the I Am Gorgeous hair care line. And so you and I, we crossed paths, right? And we're here now. So hair, faith, and confidence is something, those 3 things mean a lot to me, right? I've been a stylist for over 30 years. I think I've done 65,000 plus haircuts in my life. I've calculated once. I mean, it's a lot, you know? So I've listened to so many people. I've asked deep questions about life because I was so hungry for knowledge and information about how people get somewhere. How do they achieve great things? Because I knew that I wanted to, right? Just like you. Like, I constantly ask myself, "Is this it?" Right? And the one constant is hair, is working hard, is making people feel good by using my hands, right? By communicating with them, by listening, right? I've been so lucky to have long-term clients, right, that I've grown with, and they've grown with me. I've been able to help many, many people as they've helped me through the years, right? And now this podcast and hopefully reaching a larger audience, myself sharing and with my guest, we're sharing information that could help many people, millions, hopefully, just inspire them or help them get through a tough time in life, right? It doesn't have to just be about hair, but it's trying to get over a hump. It's trying to get through a bad relationship. It's trying to solve a bad hair problem, right? Simple as that, right? To realize that faith could be a big part of your life. It is a big part of who I am, right? And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about having God as a presence in my life. Pray knowing that there's someone there that's going to hold me up if things get tough. And there's definitely been tough times in my life as a husband, as a business owner, as a father. So anytime that I'd been in a tough spot and I needed someone, I just pray and I leave it up to God. I'm like, God, you put me here, you know, so help me out. Like, I don't know how anyone can birth this. So, yeah.
I mean, honestly, this industry is just there's so much passion in this industry, and I feel like a lot of the best hairstylists, there's just a reason why they get into this industry. And it's just, I mean, whether it's something in like their childhood that like gave them this passion, or if it was like they got a really bad haircut this one time, and I'll be damned if anyone ever gets a bad haircut ever again. But it's so nice to hear, like, I I I never not get excited to hear somebody's story because, I mean, I know, like, I have a huge passion for this industry, and so to hear other people's passion is just, like, great. Like, not too many industries have the kind of instant gratification that we get of I mean, there is seriously no better feeling of making someone feel beautiful, and that was kind of the whole reason why I wanted to do hair in the first place. I mean, kinda going back to who I was when I was younger, and I mean, I was so shy, I had no confidence, I had a lot of just, like, self-esteem issues and, like, but I had issues with, like, body positivity and stuff like that. And so when I took it upon myself as a kid to kinda experiment with my hair and my makeup and just making myself feel good, that kind of like birthed the like feeling of feeling beautiful. And like, oh my God, that felt so good. I want everyone to feel like this.
Yeah.
And then when I was in high school, I used to do all my friends' hair just for fun and like sleepovers or for homecoming or prom and doing my friends' hair, and they would feel so beautiful. I mean, it feels so good knowing that like I have the talent to change your perception about yourself, and I know how good it feels to feel beautiful. So to make someone else feel that way is just like
Yeah.
no better feeling.
Yeah. So hair,
Yes.
you're a colorist.
Yes.
Fall, winter. What are some looks that you're doing in the salon? What do you see happening coming up?
So I always feel like fall is just the resurgence of depth. And I feel like everyone goes super, super bright blonde for the summer. And then as soon as the colors start changing outside, people kind of want those more brunette and fall tones that they
Mhm.
kind of see on the leaves outside and just all the foliage. So I feel like what I've mostly been doing is taking people darker for the season. And so what they've been really loving is the rich brunette tones with the coppers and the gold kind of undertones to promote richness and reflection versus kind of those more cool flat tones that kind of don't, do too much sometimes. So
If someone gets a single process, do you or how often do you add highlights to someone? If you're going darker in the fall, do you still do highlights?
So I usually if even if I'm taking someone darker with their base, I'll still add in some highlights because a lot of the common like misconception is that highlights have to be blonde, which is not the case. Highlights just kind of the purpose of highlights is just to serve as a dimension period. It can be dark, it can be light. So even if I'm taking someone darker, I still will, depending on kind of the canvas that I'm working with.
Yeah.
I'll do a few like pieces just to kind of give it just a little something to it so it's not just one even color, which sometimes that's the goal. Some people just want that, you know, solid color, no dimension, no nothing, which is great, but adding in just like a couple of foils can sometimes really just like enhance the look in a way, whether it's brightening up around the face just a little bit or just adding like a few foils through the part just for like a little shimmer dimension.
What would someone ask for if they call the salon and want to book with you? What would they ask for in a situation like that?
So if someone were to want to go a little bit darker with their base and then maybe a little bit of foils throughout the front, I would have them called front desk and I would have them book a partial highlight just to start, just so I know it gives me enough time with a new client to really discuss thoroughly what we're kind of looking for with the end result. And then just to give me enough time to ensure that I'm giving them the correct technique that corresponds with their final desired look too.
So would they book a partial highlight also with the base? If they're or
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, partial highlight with the base because we would be,
Mm.
targeting that base to go darker.
Cool. Let's see. Faith. We touched on it a little bit. What does that mean to you?
To me, faith, I mean when I think of faith, it sounds selfish in a way, but I think a lot of just faith in myself and belief in myself because there was many times in my life growing up where I had none. I had no faith in myself. I had no belief in myself. I've struggled with mental health issues in my life as well. There's been many, pits in my life where I really felt like I just I don't have what it takes. I don't believe in myself. I have no faith. So I think for me, just thinking about what I've been through, having moments of zero faith and kind of everything I've gone through where I've had to kind of frame my mindset to like instill more belief in myself and faith. And that also leads to confidence too. I think back to when I first started working with you, but I was still living in the suburbs and I was commuting to your salon all the way from Waukegan up north. And so I was sitting in the car for 2 hours there and back every day. And there were so many points where I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. I hate sitting in this car just doing nothing. This commute sucks. But like reframing my mindset I truly think is what set me up to have the faith and confidence in myself that I have now
Mhm.
of like getting through that 6 months of commuting. I just had to look at myself in my rearview mirror and just be like, this is worth it. This is worth it. There's a reason why you're doing this. You know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You were talking about earlier visualizing and manifesting, and I
Mhm.
did a lot of that sitting in my car, just
Mhm.
like visualizing myself as a colorist at your salon and just manifesting that, hey, this 6 months of just grind is going to be
Mhm.
worth it one day.
Mhm.
And now that that's in the past, I mean, I can think about that and it's like, wow, like look at how far I've come now
Yeah.
since just, a year and a half ago. So
Mhm.
kind of when I to kind of like go back to faith, when I really think about faith, I think about kind of my own journey with faith in myself. And
Mhm.
it's been across the board, but I feel like I'm ultimately at a point of faith in myself where I feel like there's nothing really I can't do because there's so many things that I've done and accomplished that at one point I didn't think I was ever going to accomplish.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, how did you do it? I mean, how would someone have no confidence and no faith accomplish so much? Because you are so talented and you're so great with clients. People love you.
thank you. And I think it's just because I wanted it so bad. And I think from a young age, I wanted to be this person, this confident person for so long. I mean, I just remember being like 14, 15, and like, I've always had role models and people that I've looked up to, and I always like looked at myself like I'm never gonna be like as good as them or like. Can you say the question one more time? What's the question?
How did you do it?
So, just honestly, it's the manifesting of, like, kind of the positive affirmations of, like, I can be exactly who I wanna be. It doesn't matter. Who cares? I just have to be it. I just have to do it, and I have to be that person. And so, like, when I turned, like, 21, 22, there was just, like, a switch in me that was like, I can be whoever I really wanna be. I needed to change my environment to be a healthy environment in order to really let the real me shine.
Mhm.
And I feel like who I am at George the Salon, I was not this person at my other salon
Mhm.
because it wasn't an environment that I felt like I was able to thrive in, whereas I feel like this is.
Mhm.
So I truly just feel like I had to find the perfect environment to let myself shine in a way.
Mhm.
And it's taken many tries, but I just kept the
Yeah.
perseverance and I found it.
Well, for me, and thank you for sharing, that's great. I'm going to come back to that in a second. For me, it's about setting a goal, right? Like writing it down. You have to write it down. You have to make yourself accountable. Yeah. You have to keep track of your progress. You have to feel as if it already happened. You have to say to yourself in a first person, I am gorgeous, or I am a salon owner, is what I said, or I am confident, right? Like I am a successful person, or I'm a successful colorist in your situation. So did you do any of that? Did you just mentally keep track of stuff, or did you write anything down? What could someone else do? If we had to give someone a how to, what did you do? Because I know what I've done, and I'd love to share with everyone, and I kind of am as we're talking. But what did you do?
Okay, so this was like the rule that I formed for myself when I was commuting from Waukegan for 6 months. I would not allow myself to speak a single negative word. I would not let the negative thought leave my mouth because the second I hear myself say it, that's when it becomes real and like the reality.
Mhm.
So it was just the reframing of the mindset. I forced myself to only speak positivity, and that really helped kind of just act the part. Because so as much as I, hated what I was doing with the commute, I was still showing up to work every morning after sitting in my car for 2 hours, and I showed up and I just had this smile on my face. I remember very early on, the assistant group, they had said to me like, "You're always in such a great mood," and I'm like, "Little do you know, like, I'm sitting in the car for 2 hours wanting to, like, bang my head against the steering wheel, but, like, I'm here and this is like my dream job. And like, I have this great opportunity to make a really good name for myself in the city. Like, I'm like, what don't I have to be, happy about? So just
Yeah.
like speaking out loud, the good and like what you have to be excited about, what you have to be happy about. It's like a cheat code kind of to like get yourself through a hard time. It's like you just have to speak positive about it.
I completely agree. I mean, there's no way that I could have what I have to be where I'm at if I didn't believe in, you know, myself, in the power of, you know, manifestation, the power of positivity, the power of prayer, right? You moved from the suburbs at a salon you weren't happy. You came, you commuted for a very long time. You put the time in, you put the work in, and now things are starting to pay off. I have to bring up the fact that you, a few months ago, through work, went to Paris.
Yes.
I mean, we have to talk about that.
Yes, we have to talk about that.
So tell me about that.
Okay, so it was June of this year, and I spent a week in Paris with L'Oreal, a part of their global education program, I think
Hmm.
that's what they were calling it. But it was a week of education with them. But it was like half and half, like education, but they also set up a lot of, touristy fun stuff for us too. But basically, I mean, the whole event was really organized to kind of ignite that passion within salon owners, stylists. It was a small group of us, about actually not really that small, like maybe like 25, 30 people.
Hmm.
And we all spent the week together taking education classes with some of the global educators from L'Oreal.
Hmm.
But we had a haircutting class and we had an expert hair coloring class as well. We got to tour the L'Oreal headquarters in Paris, which was incredible. That was one of my favorite parts, was
Yeah.
seeing that headquarter building. And I mean, it was all so inspiring. And I mean, L'Oreal just really like killed it with the organization, and it was just like a dream come true, honestly, for like to be as young as I am, as like fresh in the industry as I am, to have an experience like that. Not only the experience of learning from some of those global educators, but also the opportunity to spend time with a group of people who are like insane business owners in the US. So it was like, I never met you, I would have never had the opportunity to do something like that. So, but I mean, it was kind of that experience also gave me a lot of confidence in who I was as a stylist and a colorist. And I came back from that trip feeling so inspired about not only the industry, but L'Oreal as a brand too, because I just got to know that brand in such a deep way during that week. Yeah, coming back from that trip, I mean, I was just like ready to hit the ground running. I felt so confident. I just felt like different coming back from that. I don't know. I mean, I'd never traveled internationally before that. So I just felt like I felt like a big girl kind of coming back from that. I'm just like, okay, like what can't I do? Like I
Yeah.
just did that. Like I was the youngest in the group by far. It was like I stuck out like a sore thumb. But I did that
Yeah.
and I impressed people. Like it's like if I could do that,
Yeah.
what can't I do?
Right. So I'm sure you learned great techniques to add to how talented you already are. What are some things that you want to say?
I'm trying to think of like all of the things that I was thinking about on the way here. Cause I feel like I did talk a lot about my past, which is mostly what I wanted to talk about. Cause
Mhm.
I feel like my past is what kind of influenced me to be the person that I wanted to be.
Mhm.
Just, I mean, always feeling like I was just like a shadow of a person growing up and always just like desiring to be that like extroverted person, that like life of the party type. Like I always wanted to be that kind of girl. And I mean, over time, just all of the experiences that I've had and of just like I've had to cut people out of my life. I've had to cut out energy that was toxic for me, that was preventing me from being who I wanted to be. I had to remove myself from environments that halted me from being who I wanted to be. And because of those hard decisions, I am confidently now the person that, I mean, 10 years ago, I would have never imagined that I was able to be.
It's awesome. And it takes a lot of confidence to like step away from relationships. I would have asked you, and I'm going to ask you now, like, and you mentioned faith, that's exactly what I want to talk about, because I believe that God is within us.
Mhm.
Like we're connected to a higher power, to a greater source. And I call that thing God, right? Because I'm Catholic, I do pray to Jesus or God, but like, so again, that faith within us is exactly what I want to sort people. I want people to tap into that, right? Because that's so
Yes.
powerful, right?
Absolutely.
That's meaningful.
Mhm.
And that's what has gotten me here. And I think that's what can get other people to higher places.
100%.
You didn't mention God. Like, is there a reason for that?
Religion was never a huge thing in my family growing up. My dad was raised Catholic, but when he started his own family, my parents were both kind of under the mutual, let's let the kids kind of decide for themselves as they grow up what they, want to believe in. So because it was never like stressed on me as a kid growing up, I never tapped into that type of faith in like God or Christianity or anything like that. I spent a lot of time studying different religions and kind of learning about them, which I love. I love to learn about different things that I don't particularly experience. But the more and more I've grown up, just my personal reality is like I can make changes on my own, under my own accord. And I feel like my faith ultimately is within myself because I know that I have the capabilities of making changes on my own. If that makes sense?
That's amazing. For me, I think because I I push for success, I have to make tough choices, to sign a lease, to hire someone, to fire someone, to, you know,
Yeah.
financially, there's a lot of stress on me as a person. And there have been times in my life and in my career where I was like, holy crap, like, how am I going to do this? Right. And so in those moments, for me, feeling so helpless, if I didn't have God to lean on, I don't know if I would have gotten through it.
Okay.
And I think that, like, for me, having such a belief that someone is there and they have my back and I can pray in certain situations really, really hard and just release it, like really, really release it. Cause I really do. Like, I'm basically free falling and I'm trusting that God is going to sort of catch me, you know? I don't know what it would be like if I didn't have that belief, you know? And so the only thing that I will say is that I have to believe there's something there, something, because I do believe in the power of prayer. But I do believe that we're all connected in some sort of
Mhm.
way. And, like I don't believe that we're just walking around aimlessly, right? There's got to be something more
Yes.
spiritually that sort of binds us all as humans, right? To this higher power. And so all I would say to you is discover it. You know what I mean?
Well, and I will say too, I mean, although my like belief system isn't per se like to a god, I 100% believe in manifestation and just the universe and that everything is meant to be what it should be.
Mm.
And kind of when I started really making that realization in my life of like everything happens for a reason, that's also been able to help me carry on my life more positively or thinking more positively because it's like, okay, like I can either sit here and complain about X, Y, and Z, or I can think about, I can say like after all of X, Y, Z is done, what am I gaining from it? And so it's all just about like that reframe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. You know,
Yeah. Cause I mean, although, like, I wouldn't consider myself to be someone who prays, I do manifest, and I feel like there's a lot of similarities within that of just, like, kind of speaking onto something so it, like, appears.
so again, I'm not here to like preach. That's not what I'm here for. But I think if you just have a belief that there's something beyond us,
It's
that you can pray to that.
Mhm.
You could manifest to that. You can ask that.
And it's like a comfort backbone to propel your confidence in a way. Something to turn to that will be there to back you up.
Yeah. That's where the faith comes in, I think, right? Because if God is within us, our spirit, the spark of who we are as a person, right? Where does that come from, right? That's kind of what I believe. It's like it's God. It's that energy. It's the energy of life that I have within me. And if God is within me, I'm just going to say, thank you, God,
Right.
or God, help me in this, or God, look out for my kids, you know, or, it's nice to be able to pray to something.
Yeah.
It helps me, right?
Sure.
It helps me. And I think if people do feel helpless, if they were able to sort of lean into God, not necessarily religion, but if they can lean into God, they will feel that presence, I believe, you know? And I'm telling you too, like, lean into it. Try to discover it because he's there, right? I mean, or she's there, right? Something's there, I believe, right? Again, do what you want, but I think we all have free will, right? So I think having a faith in yourself is plenty, right?
Mhm.
Because if God is within you, you have faith in yourself. Whether you say God or Josephine, we can do this, or Josephine, what are we going to do? We can get through this. You can really create anything that you want in life. You just have to work hard for it, like you know how to do. I would just try to track your progress, set goals on a regular basis, put a time limit on those goals, right? And just try to reach it. And if you don't, be easy on yourself, right?
Yeah.
And just say, okay, I'm going to give myself another month or another 3 months or whatever. And along the way, you just feel as if it already happened, right? What does that feel like? That feels amazing. I'm happy. I feel confident. I feel, like I accomplished that goal even before you accomplished it. Just say that you did. It's like the I am gorgeous. It's like I am X, Y, and Z, right? And if you feel that feeling over and over and over again, as you do the work, you got to do the work.
Right.
If you don't do the work, if you're not going to get in your car and drive those 2 hours,
Then nothing's
it ain't going to happen,
right.
right?
Yeah. So it's like you can talk all you want, but like you don't have to do it. You
Yeah.
have to do something. Yeah.
You mentioned other stuff while you were coming here that you wanted to talk about. Did we do it? Did you do it?
A lot of what I wanted to say was kind of comparing me being in an unhealthy situation to no longer being in an unhealthy situation and how that has just made me like flourish and just to kind of stress importance on making sure that you are making like healthy, good decisions for yourself
Mhm.
to get you to a place to where you can just bloom because like I just had been trying to find it and it finally happened for me. As I think I did that effectively.
Amazing. I'm so happy for you. And thank you so much for being a part of my team.
Oh my god, thanks for having me. Seriously.
Yeah.
I remember my family when I like was first kind of new.
Mhm.
My family just asking me, "So, how's it going?" They were all so skeptical of me like doing the commute. They're like, what are you doing?"
Wow.
They're like, why are you doing that? How are you doing that?" And I'm like, this is seriously, like, the best job I've ever had, like, and this is, like, a 1 month in, I still, like, hardly knew anyone yet, but, like, I just had such bad experiences leading up to it that it was easy to get in my car and drive to work because I was so happy.
Mhm.
So it's like
What was it about the salon, about the team, about me? What was it that makes it so great?
it's because every single person, you included and the rest of your team, every single person is passionate about what they're doing and they care about what they're doing. And it sounds so basic,
Mhm.
but where I was kind of raised in the salon world, oh my god, oh my, I don't want to like speak like, badly on camera about anybody, but like I've seen just a lot of stylists and colorists just really not give a shit about what they're doing on their clients. And it's a huge turnoff. And I mean, I've worked with stylists that just have not a single nice thing to say about their clients. Like they'll go into the break room and just talk very nasty about their clients
Mhm.
and just constantly complain about working. They don't care about anything they're doing. They're just doing it because they need money. And
Mhm.
there is just no love, no heart in that at all. And I mean, as a young person who's fresh in the industry, like I was very impressionable and working with lousy stylists that are unhappy is just like the most depressing situation ever. Like no one is happy working with miserable people. So for me it was just that everyone was so happy to be doing hair and so happy to be
Mhm.
taking clients and everyone worked so hard at your salon, whereas what I'm used to is everyone did the bare minimum and called it a day. So it was just like the elevated performance and pressure just had me so excited that like, okay, yes, like this is a kind of place where I belong. Like
Mm.
I also work my butt off. I also like, you know, will doing everything I need to do to get myself in a place where I need to be. So it's just like-minded go-getters and really hard workers. Yeah, I mean, it's just your team really inspired me to be better and be a really amazing stylist in the city. So
Fire. And you are.
thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
If I can take the time to just, again, mention Josephine in that you're taking clients at George the Salon. She's a wonderful colorist, a wonderful person, beautiful in and out, inside and out. And is there anything else that we should talk about? I mean, if you wanted to give, you know, a word of advice to our audience, what would it be?
Sure. Honestly, if I could give a word of advice to people my age out there, the Gen Zers, because it's a scary place out there right now, and I feel like a lot of us are now growing into a world that we did not foresee coming. So it's been really scary of not really knowing what our future holds. So I mean, if you're a young person and you just feel like you just don't know where your direction is and you don't know where you're going, tap into some of those things that you experienced growing up and like some of the hardships that you've endured. And how can you grow your passion through the things that you've been through? I feel like that's kind of like a theme of what we've been talking about today is that
Mhm.
like it's the things that we experience through our lives is what builds our passion to create and help people. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you.
thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you.